Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 11.1 is fast approaching. With it, we get brand new content, new raids, new dungeons, lots of good updates when it comes to gearing through M+ content, delves, and even PvP adjustments with so many different class changes and PvP talent changes. However, as we get patch 11.1, we'll be getting new rewards to earn, but old rewards will be going away. Either because they're seasonal rewards or because there's a holiday or an event that's active right now that will be disappearing around the time 11.1 launches or by the time Season 2 launches, which is happening very soon. So if you're someone who's big into getting as many collectibles as possible, I wanted to go over all of the different mounts that will be going away very soon before the patch 11.1. So this gives you something to focus on if you're trying to get as many rewards as possible before new seasonal content is here, because some of these seasonal rewards are either going to be permanently going away or will be much harder to get around the time 11.1 officially launches. As always though, if you guys want to see more regular updates for the patch 11.1 War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So first things first, I want to go over the seasonal mounts that will be going away very soon, with the first ones being the dungeons, delves, as well as the PvP seasonal mount available during Season 1, with the War Within Season 1 mount being the Diamond Mech Suit, part of the KSM achievement for the current season, which will be going away as soon as Season 2 launches. Technically, when 11.1 launches, we'll have a week of the off-season, and in previous expansions during the off-season, sometimes players still have the opportunity to earn this mount during the off-season. I am not sure if this is going to be still the case this time around, but either before 11.1 launches or at least before March 4th, which is when the Season 2 launches, that's an opportunity for you to at least be able to unlock this unique mount. And the thing is too, is normally Mythic Plus seasonal mounts usually get a different recolor season to season. Though this time around, the Diamond Mech Suit is actually a unique mount for War Within, with the Season 2 mount being more Goblin themed, this one being more Earthen Dwarf themed, while the next one is going to have a Goblin aesthetic instead. So it's going to be a completely new model rather than just a simple recolor. So if you're looking for a fairly unique looking mount, I'd say get it as soon as possible. Another seasonal mount that's worth going after right now is the Void version of Delver's Dirigible. There's a bunch of different seasonal rewards that are available during Season 1 of Delves, from different toys like the shoulder, cosmetics, as well as different back pieces for the season, but also for defeating Zekvir on the hardest difficulty as a solo player, you'll have a chance at this mount. Technically, the version of this Delver's Dirigible, the Void version, is not necessarily going away permanently for Season 2. Instead, it will be turned into a very rare drop that you will still be able to have a chance to achieve. But right now, if you were to fight the difficult boss that is Zekvir on the hardest difficulty and defeat him, it's a guaranteed drop. And over the past few weeks, a while ago actually, in fact, they ended up nerfing Zekvir to account better for class mechanics. So the fight functions differently if you're a Shadow Priest, if you're a Rogue, if you're a Warrior, Paladin, you name it. Because every single class functions slightly differently in things like their interrupts or some of the utility abilities and stuff like that. So they've adjusted them to function a little bit better with every single class setup that's available. So it doesn't really make the fight easy, but it makes it a lot more doable. All you need for the most part when it comes to most classes is some sort of a way to remove a slowing effect to be able to deal with one of the casts and have an interrupt available for the heal that the boss does. Also, be sure to stutter step Brand's healing potions and don't run through all of them at once. And my final tip for the fight would be just to play as safe as possible and respect boss mechanics. Don't avoid them, focus on them, and dodge enemy mechanics over dealing boss damage and playing it too risky. Because the fight does not have any kind of enraged timer, you can technically keep fighting the boss for a very long time, and disrespecting boss mechanics is usually how a lot of people die really early. So try to play it as safe as possible, and after a little bit of practice, you should be able to get the boss down in no time. Another seasonal mount that you can still obtain right now is a Vicious Skyflare, a very spazzy PvP mount, but one that is obtainable by a large swath of players. All you have to do is complete as many PvP matches in any rated mode, whether it is solo BGs, solo shuffle, 2v2, 3v3, or even competitive 10v10 RBGs at above 1000 rating, and then complete as many matches as possible until you fill up the bar. Now, it will be a bit of a grind if you were to start working on this right now at this moment before Season 1 is over, but it is definitely doable, especially if you queue for things like solo BGs or solo arenas, and this progress is shared across multiple characters, so if let's say you get to higher rating and start getting into more challenging matches, you could just switch over to another character that's at lower rating to have a little bit easier time grinding through the mounts. Now, another mount that you can still technically obtain right now is the timely Busby mount, which is available during the turbulent timeways weeks. They've been active for quite a bit of time now, offering us much better, more competitive rewards for completing time-walking dungeons and even time-walking raids. Now, this mount is tied to the achievement of Master of the Turbulent Timeways 2, where you do have to gain the Timeways Mastery buff for 5 weeks, not necessarily in a row, but 5 weeks in order to be able to earn this mount. And this week is the final week for you to be able to earn the mount. So if you've been behind and you have done at least 4 weeks of Turbulent Timeways Mastery buff, this week will be your final week to be able to complete it, and now will be the best time for you to be able to finish out for the mount. But if you haven't been doing the grind for the Mastery buff, if you haven't, then you don't really have any options to be able to actually earn it. So be sure to check in with the achievement to see how close you are to completion, and if this is your final week and you only need 1 more Mastery buff, queue up a couple of time walking dungeons, which will be just enough for you to be able to earn the Turbulent Mastery buff and the Busby mount before the event is over. Another set of mounts that's currently available for players to obtain right now are the Plunder Store mounts from the Plunder Store, and there's a variety of different mounts for players to collect. All of the original mounts that players could have earned from previous Plunder Storm events, but also some of the new mounts that are available, like the Plunder Lord's Midnight Crocolisk, as well as the Hook Talon unique mount. All of these mounts can be earned just by playing games of Plunderstorm, whether you win or lose, as long as you collect as much plunder as possible, and then spend all of the plunder on these mounts, which will be available for only a handful of days, since Plunderstorm is ending the day that patch 11.1 officially begins. So you have only a handful of days left for this one specifically, but the Plunderstorm grind is really not that bad. It's all about getting as many games in as possible, and these mounts and the cost for them are not that bad compared to how you used to be able to earn them back when Plunderstorm initial launched, which was behind a renown track, and you couldn't get any of the cool rewards up until you were at the tail end of the renown track. But the fact that you could just play a couple of games and buy these mounts outright at least allows you to complete that mount grind a lot quicker than before. The next set of mounts isn't necessarily tied to patch 11.1 specifically, but during Turbulent Timeways we're getting a big boost towards time-walking dungeons and time-walking raids, as well as the rewards from those instances. And this week right now, Cataclysm time-walking dungeons are currently available, or rather, Cataclysm time-walking is available. You see, for expansions like the Burning Crusades, Wrath of Lich King, and Cataclysm, all 3 of those eras of time walking also come with a time walking raid, being the Black Temple, Ulduar, and Firelands for Cataclysm. All of those raids also come with a raid quest. For defeating the final boss of that time walking raid, you also get a bonus box of that raid instance. That box usually comes with hero track gear of that raid instance, which offers a lot of variety of powerful items, but also a higher chance, based on players' reports, to obtain mounts from that expansion's era. So for Cataclysm, that's an opportunity for you to get 5 Cataclysm-specific mounts. Players have reported you can get mounts such as the Lifebinder's Handmaiden from one of these boxes, which comes from the raid of Dragon Soul. Even mounts like the Experiment 12B, which comes from the Lesser Cache of Aspects, also normally is a drop from Dragon Soul. That box also drops a 3rd Dragon Soul mount, which is the Blazing Drake. You can also obtain the Pure Blood Firehawk, which normally drops from Ragnaros in Firelands, as well as the much sought after Flame Talon of Alisrazor. And as a bonus mount, you can also obtain the Infinite Time Reaver, which is a mount you can unlock only during time walking dungeons or as a time walking reward. But there's at least 5 Cataclysm mounts for you to be able to obtain, plus a bonus one with the Infinite Time Reaver that you can obtain from one of these raid boxes. And if you have a small army of alts, you can always queue for that raid specifically and even use the Firelands skip. All you gotta do is look up Firelands in the raids legacy section, and you'll usually find players offering to skip to the final boss as a chance to potentially get yourself a mount from one of these boxes. And you can run this on as many alts as you have available to you in order to have an extra chance to be able to get an additional mount to add to your collection. Technically, these Firelands mounts can be, and this Cataclysm mounts can be unlocked for their respective instances, and the next time the Firelands Time Walking Week rolls around, but that won't be for some time. So while waiting for the patch 11.1, if you're looking to add more mounts to your collection, that's a perfect opportunity for you to take advantage of that is currently available. Lastly, we have mounts from the trading post, which technically are not tied to patch 11.1, but they'll be disappearing around the time patch 11.1 launches, in between season 2 launching officially on March the 4th. So all of these mounts will be going away very soon. One of the ones you want to take advantage of, what is fairly unique as of this moment, is the Silver Moon Sweeper that is available right now over in the current month's trading post inventory, as well as potentially maybe Reigns of the Fur and Ship Fox, which is going to be a mount that will likely be making its own reappearance at some point in the future on the trading post. Though this month specifically, Trading Post is having its 2-year anniversary, where you have a chance to be able to purchase some of the unique rewards, specifically mounts, that have been available from previous months of the Trading Post, with mounts like Quacks appearing on there as a monthly reward from previous iterations, or even Ashadar Harbinger of Dawn, which is a unique saber mount that actually has 2 forms, one that changes its form to sunlight during the day, and then one that's like a moonlight version during the night. And then there is another vendor right next to him that has even more mounts that have appeared during the previous months of the trading post, and there's a variety of different mounts for you to collect. All of them will cost you a unique currency of Trader's Tender, which you do have in limited capacity, but if you're looking to add even more mounts to your collection, now would be a pretty good time to do so. But as always though, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys did enjoy this update. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very much appreciate that. Join our community, probably the best place to discuss the newest happenings over in the patch 11.1 as soon as they appear over on the PTR or live realms very soon. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in our next one.